cried out in your sleep last night. Did you have a nightmare?
Hey everybody, have you ever felt overwhelmed and feel like your problems are going to ruin what you want to do for the future? Well, we know exactly what that feels like. And recently we've just sort of hit a wall with problems overcoming us, but it created an opportunity to get creative so that we can actually go through it and have a solution. So I hope you enjoy this episode where you can see us getting creative to overcome obstacles for things that are going to try to prevent us from moving forward, but we're saying, no, we can get through this.
Then I'm paying the bills and we need to have a conversation about our money.
This says they're going to reduce our dues by 6.25%.
So we got to stop spending money. So what's your plan?
Okay, here's the plan. Listen and learn. Well, this is you. And this is our YouTube channel. And of course, you recognize this boat, don't you? Yab yum. So yes, getting serious now. We are spending too much money on marinas. You know, at $1.50 a foot, which is actually the less expensive marinas, it's $51 a night. At $1.75, which is more common, $59. And look, at $2.50 a night, that's a lot of money. So when we're cruising and we stop every night, or if we get laid over because of bad weather somewhere, 1 week we could spend $416.50.
Oh my gosh, that's what we've spent sometimes for 1 month.
So we need to stop, reevaluate, because that's why we don't have enough money to spend on getting a new sail. The main sail, we need the water tanks and running lines to the cockpit. Now, I don't want to give up on my sailing dream because we run out of money.
I agree. And I like your drawings. Very nice.
Thanks, yeah, I do a lot of drawing in my spare time. And make a little sun for me and a little cloud because I know you like some shade. Well, how are we going to solve this problem? It's really quite easy. We just need to anchor out.
That makes a lot of sense. I really like how you explain things with the whiteboard. I'd love to be able to not have to pay all those marina fees. Do we have everything we need to start anchoring out, or do we have to buy more stuff? Honey, can you explain to me what we need to be able to live at anchor?
The battery bank is the first part of a system to live at anchor. We have 4 batteries for a total of 424 amp hours, which I'll explain in a minute what that means. Boat insurers say that most fires on boats start in the DC wiring. So because I'm not an electrician, let's go see what Glenn has to say about how he wants to wire all these batteries together into one big battery bank. Oh wow, looks like my spaghetti cheese grinder.
Cheese grinder, yeah. It'll
You need a light back there?
this will put it, like, test your battery to see if it'll hold a load and if the battery itself is still good. And because we don't really know how long the battery's been there.
I'd say it was put in December of last year.
Okay, so I just want to know if it'll hold a load. And what we're doing is we'll flip a switch and it'll heat this coil, so it'll actually draw juice out of that battery, and we'll see it's showing it's good. You're right at 11 3/4, right at 12 volts, and 15 seconds holding this. See the coil's heating.
Oh yeah.
So
it's a good battery.
It'll hold, yeah. It's a good battery. It will
that's
hold
good.
a load.
They're expensive.
Yeah.
Now I have this. Is this?
Yeah. Oh, well, I can use yours. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's a kind of an expensive one. It's not like the good kind you got.
That can't be right. 3. That's not right.
Let's try yours.
All right, it's 12.5 volts. Right now with the battery setting, you'll read between, say, 11.5 and 12.5 volts. All right, if your engine was running, you should have 13,
right,
13.5 to all the way up to maybe 14 is what your meter would read. So you know that way your battery charger. right with it sitting with no load on it, or with it not being charged. It should be between, say, 11 and a half, 12 and a half, 12, whatever. But when that battery charger kicks on and starts putting back into that battery, it should bump it up to, say, 13 and a half, 14. All right, on your 13, 1, all the way up to, say, 13 and a half, right all the way up to, say, 14 is good. Anything, say, over, say, 14 to 14 and a half, anything over 14 is you're actually overcharging your battery, and you could actually boil the batteries out or cook them dry with water. So you always, and these are maintenance free, so you don't really have to check the water, but some of the other batteries you actually have to check the water level. And the longer you're charging at 14 and a half, you're just putting that charge back in there quicker. If it would be at 13 for this battery, but this battery over here says at 14, then either you've drawn that one battery down more, and probably with the way we set it up, that one bank should draw it on down, so it should actually take more charge to draw to build those 3 batteries back up. So right now your battery banks are separated. That is just by looking at the cables until we actually could turn the switch over there. So you got two batteries on one bank and 2 batteries on number 2 bank. When you're anchored out, if you use, for instance, number 1 bank as just your house, and you're using your computer and everything off of number 1, and you don't use number 2, then you could turn it over to number 2 and you could start on number 2. Or we could hook your back battery and hook it to that battery, and then hook your new battery to that battery over there, and it would only be used as your house bank, 3 batteries on the house. If you're in number 1, then that's what you would run the whole boat. And then when number 1 starts to get low, switch it to number 2, which would then be just, this battery would be just start. So then you could fire it, let the alternator run, and then it would charge all 4 batteries. Right. But then when you're actually on house, just run it on number 1. So and unless there was some rare instance, you would never run it on both, because you wouldn't want to drain your cranking battery down. So if we did that, you'd have 3 banks for your house, which is, you got more battery capacity, and then that way you still got this one battery, and as long as this one battery is always charged, the other 3 can run down, but you can always fire your engine, and then your alternator would have to charge all 4 of them. That was probably the best way. Then that way you've got just more battery bank on your house.
Now that we see that a boat's battery capacity is what determines our ability to live at anchor, now we need to ask, how are we going to recharge those batteries once we've depleted them? That's a great explanation of how the battery bank is used, but can you show how the battery bank is recharged?
Solar power is great. I'm looking forward to when we can get that installed on our boat. I'm starting to see how this all goes together.
So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you found it educational. I know I have learned quite a lot about this whole topic and how we can use it to save money.